Hi guys, welcome back to another karting video. Now if you watched the last one, you'd know that I left a pretty good first impression at this track. However, I'm still a long way off from being competitive. So the competitive times from when I was there was about in the 44-second bracket, and I was, I think, in the 46-second bracket. So my aim this session is just to get down as much as I can into the 45-second bracket.
28.
Because I do intend to actually start trying to do some races this year. And with not a huge amount of budget, I don't have that many sessions available to me to buy. Thankfully, this session was like, I think, £9 or something, just to drop into a random session. These guys have been like doing 2 sessions already, so me joining into this one, I was pretty much at a slight disadvantage to them. And on top of that, one thing I didn't notice is, you see this big rubber thing inside the chair? Yeah, somebody left their insert in the kart chair, which it did make it so that I could sit comfortably in the kart and I wasn't moving at all, but it did also mean that I couldn't really turn my arms enough to turn through the corners the way I would normally do it. So I had to adjust my driving style quite significantly, and I was smacking my elbows in the inside of the chair. But enough excuses, let's see how I got on.
Cheers, man.
So right off the bat, you can see that I've already able to provide full commitment through that corner. However, being a public session, these guys have just like spun out at random times a lot through this session, so I didn't really get many opportunities to set a good time. And you'll also be able to see the names. I've abbreviated them all down to like 3 letters because these guys had very like complex names, and I wasn't gonna type out all that. And plus, they seemed like they didn't really set up their like Teamsport profile properly, so I didn't really want to just dox people who didn't really know about like all that type of stuff. But anyway, coming up to these 2 guys, they looked like they had a bit of a fight going on, and I didn't really know how to pass them. So I was just sitting back, waiting for my time to go through, and just waiting for any mistakes. And as you can see, I took that corner very sharply because I didn't want to risk any of them slamming their brakes and then just causing a massive pile up. Through that last corner, I still have no idea how to get any kind of grip out of there. I might just be too heavy footed. And then sent it way too hard into that last corner. Now coming through this second corner, I found a way to like just keep all my momentum through and target the apex exactly. I still struggle with my traction on the way out, so I tend to waste a lot of time there. But despite all these small mistakes I'm making, I just have to wait for them to make one big one, and then I can just squeeze my way past, as you can see. Now you never really want to go that way around the person, because if they keep rolling backwards, you're going to end up in a crash.
Sorry, mate. Your hood's sticking out.
Oh.
I'll tuck it in for you. We're ready, yeah?
And you can already see the worst part about these suits that they give you is that they just always come unbuttoned, and that's going to be a common theme in the future videos. Like, I'm not even that fat. You can even see my wrist bent at a horrible angle as I tried to adjust for the fact that my elbow keeps hitting the seat. It's so annoying. And I can't take as much speed through the corners as you can see here because I can't even shift my weight towards the outside anymore. There's such little room. You're gonna see it again as I come up to this penultimate corner. Look at my wrist, it just... Yeah, that didn't feel good either.
turn my arm. Oh, there's padding in the seat.
And this right here is going to be my fastest lap of this session. As you can see, I just missed the apex there. Somehow managed to get it right into the first corner. And then I get the perfect line through the second corner. That leads me perfectly into the third corner. Hit the boost at the right point. Up until this point, lap's going good. But just as we come over this, I don't quite get it gripped up the way I'd like, and I lose quite a lot of speed. Here, I missed the apex again. At least I keep my momentum going forward. Coming into these hairpins, I missed that apex, slide too much, lose too much traction, and I rotated too much there, have a quick correction. Luckily I don't lose too much speed, but there's still so much room for improvement, and I think in this last corner I also don't quite get the tidiest line either. And unfortunately I'm not able to claw back any kind of gap to the guys in front. And as you can see, I'm about just over a second off of the lead. I'm not too disappointed with that, given it was my first time out, and normally the first session you're just getting used to the track, you don't tend to do as well. But honestly, look at this nightmare timesheet. You can see there's an overall trend of me like decreasing my lap times, but there was so many incidents that it's a mess. Despite all the nonsense though, somehow I managed to land number 9 on the best scores of the day, which I don't know how long that would have lasted, but it's better than last time. Better than my last first session. But keep an eye on Chicken Joe and Francesco Foresti, because those two names you'll see again in this next session. While I was waiting for my first session to start, these two were just at each other's necks, constantly going round and round. I don't know how many sessions they must have done, but they've been racing for quite a while, and I just jumped into their session basically. So I'm not really expecting to beat any of them, and given that one of them is wearing like a full race suit, I think both of them might have been. But yeah, I didn't stand a chance.
Right. Perfect. Go straight out, Madam.
Yellow is walking pace, no?
As you can see, a lot of this lap was just spent at walking pace, so I didn't really have any time to warm up the tires, and I'm not used to getting through that far in the lap without warming them up. So when the start eventually did like properly happen, I just kind of lost it.
Ooh, shit, okay.
Now, me being me, I didn't realize how sharply you could turn the kart, so I kind of just sat here expecting, I don't even know, someone to just notice and then push the kart back a little bit so I could turn. But
Yeah, turn right, turn right, turn right.
Turn right, yeah?
Turn right, look.
yeah, it turns out you can actually turn it in that gap. I just didn't want to make the problem worse. And now I'm about to let one of them pass. You can see exactly how big the skill gap is between me and an actual experienced karter. I try so hard to keep up. I even boost in the right place. I commit fully through this corner, but it's just not enough. He's still pulling away, even though I'm like pretty sure I'm full throttle there. This corner I stood no chance. I keep missing that apex and sliding. And then these hairpins, I have a horrible track record through here, so obviously I lost in here as well. And at this point, yeah, there's no recovering that. You can see just how far I'm trying to push the kart. Like, I'm just sliding all over the place because I don't know where the limits of grip are. And that lets this guy through. It is a bit humbling having someone in a grey helmet overtake you like that, but I'll be honest, I'm probably more inexperienced than him at this point. You can see every single time I'm trying to follow a faster racer, I push the limits way too much and I end up sliding, wasting loads of time. But luckily I'm not the only person who is new out here embarrassing themselves. Even the best make mistakes. This guy ahead of me has a huge moment going into the next hairpin, and I just about managed to take avoiding action. Normally I take a much wider line through there, but I was too scared to try and do anything like that. As I come through this next corner, I see somebody spun out, so I slam on my brakes because obviously you don't want to hit them, and the guy behind didn't even anticipate any of that and just plowed into the back of me. And that was really painful.
Red. Ooh. I don't know what just happened behind me, but that fucking hurt. I'm gonna feel that tomorrow.
So at this point I'm keen to study other people's lines because I feel like I need a lot to improve. So I let this guy through, and I think he might be one of the quick ones, but it turns out no, I'm able to stick with him pretty easily because he's making a lot of the same mistakes that I do, like for example oversteering in this double hairpin, and he takes it really wide through this corner, losing quite a lot of time. And then I'm just not expecting him to slow down as much as he does for this corner because I normally send it quite hard, but it really slows me down. It catches me off guard and I lose a lot of time there.
You're right.
Unfortunately on the restart I get stuck behind him again and I catch him very, very quickly, so I'm just trying my best to stay out of trouble and at the same time find a way past, but as you can see I push myself a bit too far. I lose more time than I'm trying to gain and it's just a mess. And again he takes this really wide, weird line through here, which I don't understand why he does, and then he slows down way too much at this last double apex thing. At this point I decide I'm much faster than him, so I'm just going to try and pass this corner because this is my easiest overtaking spot. And yeah, block the inside off. He doesn't really have a chance to fight back, and I've taken it. And coming up, this will be my fastest lap of the session. I lose a lot of time in this double hairpin, sliding for no reason, but at least at the beginning of the lap I just tend to always at any track have more knowledge of the beginning of a lap, and I somehow, I don't know how I managed to keep momentum through those two corners because it looks like I lost a lot of time, but not really in the grand scheme of things. As per usual, fully commit. I had to lift off there because I wasn't really turning enough, and then another drift through here which is costing me so much time, but at least I didn't hit the barrier. Through here very messy. I've had to turn left, turn right, and it's just it's a nightmare. I'm having to make multiple turns out of those turns. And then coming up to the last corners, I think I did okay here. I lost a tiny bit of time drifting to avoid hitting the apex physically, but yeah, overall not the best lap I've had. As you can see, I am making definite improvements. Dropped like 0.3 of a second on last time, but I'm just way off everyone else because these guys have been racing like pretty much all day as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, over 2 second gap, like over 2.5 second gap. It's just insane. And this time, because everyone was a lot more experienced, we got way fewer moments, so you can see a much more consistent timesheet from me. But despite all my efforts, somehow I've managed to go further down the best scores of the day leaderboard. So clearly there's way more room for improvement with the way I'm driving.
Oh, what is this? Why is it so far away from me? Oh, what is this?
So yeah, at this point I think I've figured out how to use the foot pedal adjustment, and yeah, in this session it clearly shows the difference of having them in the right place. I have quite short legs, so it does actually matter quite a lot to me. So as you can see, going into this session I had this guy in front of me again who I knew was slower, so my first objective was to get past him so I could actually set a decent time. I try my old trick of overtaking into the second corner, but he's not having any of it, and he tries to take me around the outside of it. Going into the next corner, he has the advantage, pushes me out of the way a little bit, put on the boost, try and stay in the slipstream, if that gives you any kind of advantage, probably not. But then I try and commit into this corner, get the inside line, just about make it stick. He's forced wide, he's got no response for that. And into this hairpin, I think he just about gets close to almost tap me, but not quite, and yeah, I've taken it at this point. And despite how much I mess up this double hairpin, he's also messing it up, so there's no risk of getting re-overtaken at this point. I'm not sure why, but at the beginning of this session I was really struggling with the rear end. Like, it just kept letting go. Maybe I was braking too hard, or maybe I was sending it in with a bit of angle at the same time. But either way, it was really becoming difficult to put power down. The difference in pace is insane because I've already caught up to the back of this guy, and I'm having the same situation happen again where he's coming into corners a bit too slowly, slowing me down. And I'm at the bottom of the leaderboard at this point, so I really can't risk wasting any more time. I'm trying my best to improve, and I've only got a 48-second lap, which isn't good enough. So I'm trying to get as close as I possibly can to him so I can find an overtake. His weird habit of braking way too much into that corner has made me catch right up to the back of him. At this point, I don't make the same mistake twice. I chuck it in, full send, don't let him even try and respond to it, and cut off the apex of that corner as well. And this might actually be what changed the entire session for me, because if I had stuck behind him any longer, I definitely wouldn't put in the lap time I needed. Having said that though, notice how long I've been on a 45-second lap already, so I've already broken through that barrier, regardless of the guy being there or not. I think that's why I caught up to the back of him so quickly compared to last time, because the pace was just completely different. And as we already know, I've pretty much perfected this corner, so at this point of the lap onwards, this is where I start to struggle normally, so I just made it my focus to try and fix these hairpins and stop losing time to them. As you can see, I'm keeping my momentum through the corners. I'm making sure that I'm not spinning the rear wheels too much and I stay close to the apexes. And this is how I managed to get closer and closer to the 45-second mark. 1:14 would go on to be my fastest run of the day, and my fastest lap so far at this track. As you can see, that last section I managed to keep as much momentum as possible. I kept the entry really wide for this corner because I wanted to make as late an apex as possible to make it a straight line to the next corner. And because I did all that, I managed to make sure that I could stay full throttle on the exit of the fourth corner. This corner is a real roll of the dice because you don't know if you can stick it full throttle or not. And I think that's probably the cleanest I've ever taken, that hairpin. This hairpin, I made sure not to lose as much time as possible, but I still lost time there. I think that is the last part of the lap where I'm losing time, is just spinning the rear wheels too much. And an absolutely clean final 2 corners, straight up to the line. And now I'm incredibly close to crossing the 45-second barrier, and the only people in front of me are the 2 guys who were fighting like for a really long time before me. I tried to get past this guy to see if I could make another good lap, but it's already lap 15 at this point. They're gonna end the session soon, and I span out. So there wasn't really anything else to extract from that session. But I did catch up to him pretty much immediately because our pace difference was just insane at that point of the session. I noticed he's looking back a lot, which means to me that he's treating it more like an actual race, like trying to defend from me. As you can see, he doesn't want to give me that corner again and again. He nudges me, I think out of frustration of the fact that I've passed him there every single time. But there's nothing you can do at this point. I've improved so much over one session that there's no race anymore. I've just passed him. I still managed to spin out, but look at the gap that I've made. He still wasn't behind me. Even though I didn't win this session, I could at least hold my head high in the knowledge that I've beaten my own goal, which was to get underneath the 46 barrier and get into the 45s. I'm a lot more confident now that I can finally start getting closer to a competitive time, and if I do that, then I can start racing. As you can see, even with the amount of spins that I had, there is no lap that is over a minute aside from the first one, which obviously under yellow flags you have to be like over a minute. There's no real choice in that. But this means that I'm also gaining consistency, and when you're in I was about to say lobby, it's not a lobby, this isn't online, this is real life. When you're in a session full of actual decent people, you can improve a lot quicker, and I think that was evident today. As you can see, I'm only half a second off of a competitive time now, which is so encouraging. The only people faster than me in that session were actual decent kart racers. And just look at the difference in the overall rankings. Like, I've somehow managed to reach 4th in the best scores of the day, which I didn't expect that. That's a London track, by the way, so there's been a lot of people at that track, and I've managed to get 4th. Honestly, no, I can hold my head high. I did as much as I possibly could, and yeah, I'm definitely gonna come back to this track. So if you want to see that, subscribe. I'll see you whenever I make it.